I'm tired of hearing all of your stories. It seems your lies have caught up with you. You're telling them over and over. I've told you so many times we're through, but still you don't seem to hear it. You've got a very selective ear. So now when I'm speaking, I'm very clear about it. You'll never be in my life again. Try your best to hear this. You'll never be in my life again. No, you'll never be in my life again. You'll never be in my life again. I'm very clear about it. You'll never be in my life again. I'm done with saying that it's for nothing, 'cause all the stories are lost on me. But still you will tell them over and over. What can I do now to make you see? But still you don't seem to hear it. You've got a very selective ear. But now that I'm speaking, try your best to hear this. You'll never be in my life again. Try your best to hear this. You'll never be in my life again. No, you'll never be in my life again. You'll never be in my life again. Try your best to hear this. You'll never be in my life again.
How sweet wherever I go. First class living in a red Colorado. And how sweet wherever I go. First class living in a red Colorado. Laying on the beaches of Saint Tropez. We don't need permission to drink all day. Laying on the beaches of Saint Tropez. We don't need permission to drink all day.
Hello? Okay. Okay, let me see if I'm just like not looking dog shit. Oh wait, am I on stream or no? Just to check.
Yeah.
Eh,
All right. So, welcome everybody. Welcome. We are gonna be the casters for tonight. Listen to the beat is here joining me today.
Hi,
We're gonna be
great to be here.
casting our game, which is gonna be BBZ versus, or sorry, not BBZ, DBZ versus I'm not trying. The babies versus I'm not trying.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game. I've been able to play against both of them. I'm really looking towards Intensify because he did, I guess my game against him did have a lot of trouble, and also Demon Angel. They were both very, very good in the games I played. So I'm very much looking forward to the bot lane this game.
Definitely. Like, I gotta point out Bioster. He's been performing really, really well in all of his games. Really solid ADC. And same with Demon Angel, right? These are really, really good ADCs, as well as support players. Like, we're gonna have a really, really a crazy bot lane 2v2 can go any way, in my opinion. So, like you're saying, I think that this is gonna be a game where we're gonna have to see a lot of plays coming out from the top side of the map. Especially, I want to see Intensify on something with a lot of impact this game. I definitely think that that would be really, really good for their team. As draft has not started yet, but uh, yeah, I really think that this is going to be a really great game. Everybody stay tuned as draft will be on its way soon. But I think we got a few. I don't know if these are new players, but definitely maybe one or two games so far. But NGA and WeWizard, we've seen WeWizard from their last game, as well as Illuminous, which is going to be the fill-in jungler. Yes, fill-in jungler for today's game. On the side of I'm not trying. So, really want to see how these players perform, especially since we haven't seen them. And I would really like to see this top matchup because Celebrate Squirrel versus WeWizard not really talked about that much. So, in my opinion, I think that this will be a game where we could see some really competitive stuff going on in this top lane 1v1, as well as I don't know if they're in LCS order yet, but skip that. We're gonna be on the draft as Kane gets banned away from team I'm not trying, taking that away from NGA, who seems to play Kane. Maybe, probably. I
Yeah,
don't really
looking at
know
his
yet.
match history, he does seem to be in solo duo by far a Kane main. 53 games on his Kane to his second most played being 17 on Graves. So, admittedly, seeing that Kane ban does give me a little PTSD for my own games, but as a fellow Kane main, so I'm curious to see what he's going to pick as his jungle pick
As the
alternative.
Samira gets locked in, and the Urgot immediately Intensify probably did a lot of draft prep with his team, so they know exactly what they're banning here. DBZ banning away the Samira, I think that's a really good pick to take away from Bio, as well as Urgot taken away. So they've targeted their jungler and their top lane, which so far we haven't seen any bans against Demon Angel. What are your thoughts on that so far?
I'm actually well, Demon Angel from what I've played with him has a very large and flexible champ pool. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that they've just kind of given up on the idea of actually banning Demon Angel out, as it's admittedly not too feasible to do like fully with only 3 bans. So I do think that opting out and banning out the Urgot and Kane and Yone most likely for Beyblade
Mm-hmm.
is I think probably their best option.
And I really like the Yone band here. Do we imagine that DBZ will pick up the Yasuo when it's open here? Because I know their biggest issue in their past games is whenever they leave open the Yasuo, they pick it, and then usually they have to have a comp around Yasuo. And in my opinion, I think that they should do something more around Demon Angel, play around him, as Udyr is getting first picked here. I really like the Udyr first pick. You see it a lot in MSI. Udyr's just a broken champion, really easy to play. You can put anybody on that guy and you'll be able to have a game impact, but still, really good first pick. I would love to see... I think Intensify is playing jungle this game. I don't know if they're in LCS order, but that could be Intensify's jungle, Udyr. But what are you expecting as a counter pick to this?
Admittedly, I can't really think of too much as a counter pick to Udyr specifically. When it comes to DBZ's picks, uh, in regards to the Yasuo pick that was brought up earlier, I don't think that's probably the best option right now. It's best to stray away from it because
Mm-hmm.
Udyr is very, very good at locking down Yasuo with all of his ease. So, and also considering that Yasuo does need, well, I mean, an Ornn pick, for example, or a lot of comps to center around him to supply him with that knockup so he can be
Mm-hmm.
efficient in team fights. I don't feel like putting that many resources in a champ that can get locked down so easily by one champ is the best play. So I'm looking to them playing around specifically the ADC, giving him someone that is able to shred down and play safe from the Udyr, maybe something like a Kaisa, for example.
True.
Um, that could be really, really effective this game. I think it's just
Oh
by doing
no.
that, it's significantly more I the Hecarim pick is interesting. He did receive buffs recently in 11.11. How and on multiple, I believe it was his E, Q, and I think his general stats as well, if I
Yeah,
remember
they
correctly.
they reverted a bit of the buffs because it took him to the bottom of the tier list in the jungle, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's enough, right? I
Yeah,
really don't think it's enough.
I mean, he that nerf that he received was massive, to put it mildly. It took the champion from the number one, probably the most arguably the most busted jungler in the game,
Hmm.
to, I personally think, one of the weakest. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, I'm not 100% sure what to think about that Hecarim. He does supply a good amount of utility when it comes to team fights with his R and E regardless, and he can stay in for a long time with his W. So he will have to change his playstyle from how Hecrims are traditionally played, and will
Hmm.
have to play primarily for the team when if he wants to pull off Hecarim efficiently.
So the Kog'Maw and the Vladimir coming from I'm not trying. I really like the Vladimir, especially in response to the Ornn and the Hecarim champions that really like to go in and have very predictable CC, right? So having that W to escape ganks from the Hecarim and then late game just ignore the front line, I think is really really nice here. As the Sion gets locked in top lane, not the Kog'Maw. I really think Sion versus Ornn is Sion favored. I know it's Sion favored, but overall, both champions have abilities to make things happen, and they scale intensely well. I would actually like the Ornn scaling better, just because the items that he gives, his ornaments. But overall, I really like the Udyr Sion pick and the Vlad. Really, really strong picks coming out from I'm Not Trying. As well as into this Udyr, I would have loved to see his Lilia. That's probably my favorite counter pick, is because, in my opinion, with these Hecarim nerfs, I don't know if he'll be able to be that jungler threat that is able to clear his jungle really fast and keep the tempo high, because that's what Udyr does, right? Udyr replaced Hecarim, and I'm not sure if Hecarim is going to be as good, pre-nerfs, but this Annie, like, I never expected to see an Annie mid lane. What are your thoughts on that?
I do feel like the Annie mid lane is kind of an interesting pick, personally. So far, what we've seen is Ornn Hecarim, right? So those are both playing very much for team. And if Ornn's going to be giving anyone the upgrades, he's going to be wanting to do it on like carries, more specifically shredding champions that can get Udyr, Vladimir, and Sion down. And I'm not sure if Annie necessarily can fill that role into bursting down champions as tanky as that. I guess the only thing her stun I can see primarily being useful for, with the drafts being shown, is to instantly hit on the Vladimir, who's as soon as he pops out of his W. But if the Vladimir just saves W, he can just dodge any full combo and be fine. I was looking for something like a Cassiopeia mid personally, because I felt like that could be very, very effective into their team comp with the Ornn and Hecarim, being able to disrupt so much that she can get her off her R, and that's just a chain of disruption with Ornn as well. And I feel
Hmm.
like as well she could profit a lot off of Ornn's passive and scaling with those items. But the Annie is an interesting pick. I'm really interested to see what I'm Not Trying picks into this for their bot lane, because admitted they can end up being very susceptible to an Annie burst, and even with that, it really comes down to the last two picks of DBZ especially, because how they are able to cover up for the three picks that are being shown from I'm Not Trying.
Hmm. As to notice, Alistar Misfortune taken away from DBZ as they returned with Varus Brand. Very interesting bans by DBZ. I think that actually both sides have very interesting bans. I think getting away um, not the Alistar is really important. We do know that Demon Angel does like his Misfortune. I'm not sure if he would have picked it here, but it seems that on red side, uh, the BabieZ really wanted to go for an ADC counter pick. Even though they got first pick, they wanted to first pick in second half of the draft on red side. They decided to pick their support here, allowing for support counter pick, as well as they're saying, you know what, you get to pick your ADC, we'll get the counter to it. In my opinion, I don't really like that strategy. I think that, whoa, that's a Vayne locked in.
Interesting. Uh, the Vayne's. I, I honestly wasn't looking for the Vayne. I was expecting a Jinx or a Kai'Sa specifically, but the Vayne is a good pick just for shredding down tanks. But if Vayne gets targeted by anybody, they're kind of just dead. Like there's not much you can do against that. There's no like escape for Vayne. Uh,
So both
yeah, sorry.
ADCs on a hyper carry though,
Mm.
as well as Kog'Maw is so good into these three beefy boys: the Ornn, the Hecarim, the Nautilus, as well as Kog'Maw really outranges Vayne. And I really like the Galio pick on top. I think that anytime Hecarim goes into R, Ornn goes into an R, or Nautilus goes for an R, anytime they look for a pick on somebody, that Galio ultimate being able to slam on top just adds so much safety, as well as like this Kog'Maw Galio bot lane versus this Nautilus Vayne. That's just I honestly don't know what to think about it. These are both really good bot laners, right? This 2v2 has like insane players behind these champions in this 2v2, so I'm not sure how volatile this is, but we could see a lot of blood down here. Or it could just be scaling, you know? They could just handshake it saying, okay, supports go roam, ADC's just scaling the bot lane, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really think they want to get this Vayne ahead because this Vayne can be an absolute menace, because the only pointed click CC I see is the Udyr E and the Galio, and Vayne can easily condemn those champs, as well as the Scion R. But Vayne has really good ways to, you know, reposition. But, like, what a crazy draft. Is there anything you want to say about this draft? Or
About this draft specifically, admittedly, I feel like BabieZ overall have a little bit more of a their draft is very much centered around the Vayne pick specifically. There's a lot of pressure that's going to be put onto Demon Angel, and I feel like overall, I'm not trying does have a more flexible draft overall, because they do have multiple people like the Vladimir and the Udyr that can put in a lot of work, but a lot of the pressure is on Vayne. But to be very honest, Demon Angel is the one playing Vayne, so I have seen a lot of extremely impressive micro from him, so in mechanics. So I feel like this is gonna be an extremely interesting game to watch, especially for in the bot lane.
yeah, I feel like this mid matchup very interesting. I honestly don't know what's gonna happen. Like Annie versus Vladimir, right? The Annie is the pick that just it doesn't feel right. I imagine in game, if this Annie pick is like 100%, they went into the like with a plan going into the draft. Like they said, if we get this Annie, it's gonna allow our team to do this and this, and then maybe we can see it in game. But for right now, I'm having a lot of questions about it, especially like this Vladimir, right? Vladimir has the tools this game, and both teams have immense scaling. Like I don't know what scales harder than Kog'Maw, Vayne, Vladimir, Ornn, you know, stuff like that. They also have their good amount of early games with the Hecarim, the Nautilus, the Galio, Udyr. So right now, both comps look really good. Do you have a comp that you specifically favor? Players aside.
Admittedly, players aside, I feel like overall the comp for, in my opinion, I feel like I'm not trying's comp is a little bit more well-rounded relative to DBZ's, but admittedly, Annie is a very good pick against Vladimir when it comes to the individual matchup, but it's really just how that Annie will play into team fights that I'm really curious about.
One thing to notice for those who don't see Annie every game, Annie can put a shield onto this Vayne, make that shield even more tankier so that they don't get one shot by the Vladimir, the Kog'Maw, as well as Annie can actually initiate really well, allow for the Hecarim to go in. Most of the time you're going to see the Hecarim start with his R, the Ornn or Horn going in, but Annie can engage and start this up, Nautilus as well, so in team fights, just feels like an all-out brawl. And I think that the biggest thing is these ADCs, because both teams have really beefy front lines, and in my opinion, they have zero range. Right? I'm not going to even talk about Sionar, but Udyr, Vladimir, Sion, Galio don't have the greatest amount of range. It's all about that Kog'Maw, who does have an insane amount of range with his W and his artillery and his E slow, his Q harassment. It's really, really long on all of his abilities, but nothing else really on their team is that long. So, like, Kog'Maw is going to be so important in these fights, as well as, on the other side, or an ultimate. It has a good range. Hecarim can run at you really, really fast. Of course, these are melee champions. They have to be in the fight to do their stuff, right? Or not as much, but still, right? Annie doesn't have the best range. She's really short range, but it can be really, really crazy. Nautilus has his Q, his R. Vayne very low ranged, so I'm very, very interested to see if DBZ can get onto this Kog'Maw and take the fights that they want, because just comp-wise, like the way they intertwine and how I see these fights going out, it's going to be really, really important because of the things I just mentioned.
Yeah, the more I think about it, actually, admittedly, DBZ's comp is starting to grow on me. Because when it's similar to what you said, admittedly, the range is all put onto the Kog'Maw, and also the majority of the damage is as well. So if Kog'Maw's I guess, the main one that's ahead and their main, uh, I guess, power pick, for example, if Hecarim is able to jump onto the backline and get to him and put him out of position. If Ornn is able to get that knock up as a follow up, if Annie's able to burst off of that, if Nautilus is able to get that R, they have a lot of options of being able to single out that Kog'Maw. And if they're able to follow up on it properly, I feel like DBZ can completely turn around team fights even from behind. However, admittedly, there's a lot of it just comes down to flexibility because with both teams, I feel like mainly this game, it's gonna be the first few seconds of the fight, in regards to the ADC that I feel like is gonna determine the game as a whole.
Yeah, which makes me think, if you're like, obviously we're both junglers, but if you're the Udyr or the Hecarim, what are you prioritizing this game?
When it comes down to it, let me take a look back at the comps. I would, as a as the Hecarim specifically, I would look towards bot lane. I'd probably be pathing downwards in order to try and shut down that Vayne early, as the Vayne is a pretty important pick for them. Uh, but when it comes to Udyr, I feel like it would be quite difficult ganking uh for Udyr into that composition. So especially with like Nautilus being able to peel out, slow him down a little bit, and then the condemn, especially from Vayne, I feel like that'd be kind of annoying to go against. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him just look top lane to get a lead to transition later onto the other lanes. It's most likely mid, I think.
One thing I also wanted to notice as both teams get onto the Rift, I wanted to know if this was going to be a tank Kog'Maw, right? I wanted to know if the tank Kog'Maw would be the build that we would see out of this but Biostar. He's going for the Dorn's Ring, which usually shows that he might be going for the AD, allow himself to get the Kraken Slayer, really burst these tanks. But standard 5-point from DBZ, and it looks like I'm Not Trying is looking for a 4-man bush cheese. Not really. They're just like, hey, if Nautilus tries to engage or invade here, they can try and you know, look for an easy kill if they just sit in a bush. But otherwise, it's standard. No aggressive vision. Just everything looks normal. What do you think about the Hecarim with Conqueror?
I personally, at least with my like experiences with Hecarim, I would have personally opted for the phase rush. You could get locked down by Intensify quite and Galio kind of easily with the phase rush, regardless. But I feel like just the idea of being able to get onto Kog'Maw is Hecarim's primary goal within these team fights. So anything that could help, even if there's potential negatives to it, is I feel like by far what he should be aiming to do. So it's quite interesting. I'm curious to see if he's going for the Bruiser build, with the what's it called, with like Triforce or Sunder. I feel like that'd be kind of interesting, but I feel like if he's trying to get onto that Kog'Maw, Chem Tank is probably his best decision. So I'm really interested to see what DBZ's jungler is going to go when it comes to build specifically.
Yeah, personally, like, it's what do you when it comes to building on this Hecarim, It's what matters more to you. Oh, as we get a level 2 engage here, Steel Fix gets ignited by Gogo Fei. Really good engage as Vayne gets a little bit of poke off, but overall that's just an ignite traded for flash on Vayne. Overall really well played as top lane is just two tanks going at it, right? I doubt any jungler is going to be really emphasizing putting power in this top lane as some standard trades gets them both pretty low. But both junglers did start top side, as they're going to be rotating to their bot side, both trying to get this Scuttle Crab. Udyr already is just faster, right? So I expect Udyr to get to the Scuttle, as we see a really nice double taunt as Steel Fist, good flash to not get knocked up by Gogo Fate there. Demon Angel is actually really healthy. Biostar and Gogo Fate about half health, same as Steel Fist, but that is the heal and the flash on both the heal on Vayne and both flashes on DBZ's bot lane. Whereas Biostar and Gogo Fate have only, you know, they've only had to commit the ignite. As well as, look at this flash! The taunt does go onto Vayne. Really good intuition by Steel Fist to say, hey, something's fishy. They're going for Vayne. I'm just gonna give my life to save her. Almost taking Biostar out. The heal did come out. But yeah, that's the first blood going on to intensify the jungle, as here's Hecarim. No phase rush, he pops the ghost, but he gets bursted as Demon Angel gets 1v2 in the bot lane as Beyblade should fall. Good stun on Intensify. Actually, it's a 1-for-1, but a double kill going over to Intensify. And Biostar gets in a kill onto Demon Angel. Demon Angel did go 1-for-1, but it was a trade of support for ADC. Which, if you're I'm not trying, this is huge.
I'm not trying, I feel like, has played the early game very, very well, especially in the bot lane. Gogo Fei early, getting that flash out of Vayne was massive. Recognized that Udyr was pathing bot and early gank was potential, and getting that flash out of the Vayne is probably the biggest thing that they could have done early in order to secure a really strong gank for Intensify. And I believe Intensify, depending on, I'm curious to see what he builds on back. Seeing what he's built so far, he's gotten the Lucidity boots. So I haven't seen that personally on Udyr, but I feel like with that lead, I'm not trying, can snowball very hard. When he did transition mid, he did receive the kills there, which is a little bit detrimental to the Vladimir. But if Intensify continues his aggressive playstyle, I feel like, if anything, him getting the kills there was probably the best outcome that could have came out of that.
Yeah, Intensify having the 3 kills and a big jungle lead so far. He's going to be able to do a lot as Wizard and Celibate Squirrel just hitting each other in this top lane. It's really, really just two big beefy boys hitting each other. But like I was saying before the skirmishes bot happened, it's what do you care more about? Engage on Hecarim or scaling Team Shred with his Divine Sunderer? Which one do you value more? And obviously we see that NGA values the Divine Sunderer in this situation, which in my opinion I would have gone for as well.
It is interesting to see that he is going to Divine Thunder. It does help with dealing with the tanks.
A fight here actually is popping out. I'm gonna have to stop you as NGA gets stunned up. Intensify has the phase rush. Demon Angel no flash, does get a double taunt. Good condemn onto Intensify. Demon Angel really low, but Gogo Fade is just as low. The TP comes out from Celibate Squirrel, does get the choo-choo train onto Steel Fist, and that is just a dead bot lane. Biostar picking up a kill, Intensify picking up another one as well. Gogo Fate is just not dying.
I feel like the direction of this game is going to be really decided on the next few minutes. Will I'm not trying continue to push out their lead and bully with what they have and the resources that they've obtained off of these early plays, or will they let the Vayne scale, or they'll let the Vayne and Annie scale? That is an R that's down from Annie, and Vladimir does get out of the way from it, so that is pretty massive actually. The R stun for Annie in this matchup is probably the most, I think, one of the more important things. So that's kind of, it's gonna set Blade a little far behind for the next few minutes, but we'll see how he's able to rebound off of that.
Yeah. This is not looking good for Demon Angel's team. Sorry, the babies. But Crumb, I will say, if you go to the time controls, you can speed it up to get to up current.
Yeah, I was a little bit behind for a bit, but I should be up to time now. Sorry about that.
Awesome. Both junglers in the top half of the map. They might be trying to fight for the scuttle. Celebrate Squirrel does have the roam down, so it seems like Hecarim is just gonna have to give. What a nice Q there. But man, I'm really liking the Ornn into this Scion. So far, it seems like WeWizard is just beating onto him in these 1v1s, but Celibate Squirrel using his TP bot lane was really, really important to actually have an impact, as Beyblade doesn't get that ward. Unlucky.
Unfortunate for Beyblade. That ward is going to be pretty big in setting up for INT future ganks.
Yeah.
If he does push from like what's going on right now in the
Yeah.
top lane. Seeing if intensifies. Oh, really good on W or Bellows Breath from WeWizard that actually does get him out of there. Oh, Galio's going in.
Yeah, as Go-Go Fate is the unstoppable. Sorry. The Onslaught of Shadows being used to escape there by Hecarim. But like you were saying, right? That was a really good way to force Ornn's Flash because Intensify is just so fast and he's so good. But WeWizard played it really, really well to escape that, even if he did have to use Flash. But yeah, Onslaught of Shadows used by this Hecarim, he's just not having any impact this game, in my opinion.
Hecarim, for their early game is really good. Oh,
Yeah, great condemn. Actually, wait, this might be a re-engage. The hook does miss. It does hit a minion. Demon Angel looking for it. He gets the flash, the good heal, and BioStar should get rooted up by Steel Fist. Steel Fist actually does get the heal on. Okay, Demon Angel's looking for the double kill. Here's the
double
Kagura
kill.
passive. It's not enough. Wow.
this is exactly what I was talking about before. Demon Angel just out of nowhere just pulls out mechanics like double lift, and he just
Yeah.
he just goes crazy every time. It's Demon Angel does secure the double kill there. That is really, really massive for BabieZ. And I'm just curious to see, will this mark the turnaround for BabieZ?
Oh, I definitely think that if there is a way for this Vayne to carry this game, it would be piloted by Demon Angel. This guy is so good. Even in these 2v2s that were looking pretty nasty, this guy has a gold lead. Sorry, he does have a CS lead that is pretty massive, 12 CS. And man, he was just flaunting his stuff there in that Vayne 2v1 basically. Steelfist played it really well, as Go-Go Fade playing it, the 2v2 well there as well. But like Demon Angel just showed how powerful his Vayne can be. What are your thoughts so far on the Annie that we really talked about? Because so far, this mid lane hasn't really done anything to impact the map. But wow, actually I will have to just say that what a great stop by WeWizard. The flash still hitting. Celebrate Scroll Circle down. They should give this to the Hecarim, and they will, as that's just really well played to catch out and overposition Xion when they probably saw Intensify on the bot side of the map.
We are seeing right now that I believe that he's pinging for a potential counter jungle as Udyr is shown bot lane, but it is all clear. That was an amazing gank conducted by the Hecarim and the Ornn in the top lane. Yeah, I'm actually very interested to see how this game plays out now. It seems that the BabieZ is playing extremely well for the past few minutes. They're just coming back really, really strong. Not letting their early plays. Oh, in the mid lane.
Vladimir actually gets stunned up. The Galio comes in, but he's already dead. They should look for Galio here. He does get rooted by the Nautilus. The Onslaught of Shadows spearing him back into the team. That's a kill for the Hecarim. So what happened here is they decided to send 4 members. I'm not trying to send 4 members bot lane to totally force their bot lane to give the tower. They summoned the Rift Herald with 2.5 plates, but this Rift Herald is huge. Intensify tanking for the Rift Herald, as they got 3 hits and 2 towers from that. That's an entire bot lane worth of plates and just straight up gold going over to exactly who you want it to be on. BioStar getting a big amount of gold from that bot lane play. They did have a good counteractive play going on in the mid lane. They did find themselves a double kill as Gogo Fate was not able to save Illuminous from that initial engage, but plates were taken back on the side of DBZ, but it was shared amongst 4 players, and kills on Vayne and Hecarim are important, but overall that was just really well played by I'm Not Trying. As Intensify is looking for the Vayne, good condemn here. Vladimir E will not connect. The train will, oh my goodness, one-shot Vayne. That's 5 members, and they said, hey, we gotta pick, let's go to Drake. We know Ornn doesn't have TP.
Admittedly, I don't even know what to think of this game at this point because the game is constantly going back and forth between the favoring both teams. DBC just a bit earlier had an amazing play mid where they had so much, and you can just see the team synergy between them. And then it's shifting back to I'm Not Trying, showing their team synergy and how they play together and is securing kills themselves. So admittedly, this game is, well, I mean, this game's a pleasure to watch, just seeing both of these teams play with each other and how they are able to bounce back off each other and rebound off of plays.
Yeah, not even to mention plates fall in 30 seconds. And they already had their Nexus, their inhibitor tower on bot lane take a big chunk. That's absolutely crazy how much that opened up on the map for I'm Not Trying. And we did see plates falling mid and top for the BabieZ, but overall they haven't taken anything so far until these plates will fall in 5 seconds. But I would like to see them try and get some pressure on these towers. Open up the mid tower would be really, really important because that would allow them to have more freedom in the jungle as they please. But overall, I'm Not Trying playing really, really well with macro so far, as an interesting trade in this bot lane as we see the Annie just cannot deal with the Vlad. Top lane getting Intensify here. The Ornn Horn does go down. The ult will find Intensify. Intensify just runs away, but they don't have the damage to kill this Ornn, as Celibate Squirrel take too much. But here's the Onslaught of Shadows. They do find the Biostar. The Dredge line hits. Biostar does go down, and NGI gets out. The turret shot does not hit, but there's the Kog'Maw to blow him up and get the shutdown as they go for another engage. Great double knockup by WeWizard. Intensify cannot tank anymore, and Celibate Squirrel getting pretty low. The flash auto, not enough, but there's the train that just knocks him down. WeWizard did not play that to the best he could. I think that the E hitting both of them there, but going for that flash, just, it was really, really ambitious as it cost him his life and the top lane turret.
I feel like that fight that just happened in the top lane under tower just perfectly summarizes what's been going on this game. WeWizard had the kill, had potentially a kill or at least an escape secured, but he did, and then it just kept on shifting back and forth between who was in favor that game in that fight top lane under tower, and ended up going, did end up going to INT. Because WeWizard did get a little bit greedy with the flash there, trying to secure the kill on the Scion. However, was not very successful. I am actually extremely impressed so far by the jungler from DBZ, because admittedly the Divine Sunder Hecarim is not nearly as strong as it used to be. And even with the recent buffs, it wasn't going to be relevant, but he is for the past like 8 minutes or so, he has shown a lot of presence on the map and made a really good use of any of the leads that he was able to secure. So I'm actually very much impressed by it, and admittedly a little inspired to play Hecarim in solo queue after this.
In my hand, I'm definitely not inspired at all.
Fair enough.
But I do think that we were talking about it in the specific matchup, Udyr versus Hecarim. I would like the phase rush, but in this specific actual game, right, you have to look at the variables. I think the Hecarim taking the Conqueror is going to allow, against these beefy boys, for him to just stay alive, even shred and scale up. He can easily get proc the Conqueror stacks early, especially when he engages. His W nerf is going to make him not stay alive as much. So going for this Divine Sunder, it means that every time he auto attacks, is going to allow him to heal off of this Ornn, this Scion, which I think is actually pretty important. So I do like the fact that he did take Conqueror and the fact that he did take Sunder, but so far Intensify having a huge lead early has not failed to keep the tempo up, as both Rift Heralds have been used to take these towers, as we see it summoned up mid lane. it doesn't look like we're going to see an engagement on the side of DBZ. They're just going to say, hey, you can have our mid tower, but no more than that, right?
Yeah, I feel like especially with the Hecarim choices for Conqueror and Sunder, with all these early fights going on, I feel like the Sunder and the Conqueror is significantly going to be stronger than the alternative of the Chem Tank, and we may see a bit of a team fight.
Yeah.
Or
Good dredge line onto the Celibate Squirrel. The ultimate does go down, but he doesn't get out. WeWizard gets the ult onto Illuminous. Illuminous burning down to Ignite. This is just a team fight that they were not prepared to take. What happened here was, and I'm not trying. Whoa, actually the flash onto Demon Angel. Demon Angel does a good job to disengage. Doesn't get hit by any of the vault, but this is just a team fight that should have been in the favor of DBZ. They had the 3v5. But they didn't have the ultimates. They had a really good engage, and they were just able to find a kill onto WeWizard and Steel Fist. Really, really good play by I'm Not Trying. Like, they went for the resets, whereas two of their members decided to stay, and DBZ decided to take and capitalize on that. They took a really good man fight, the 2v5, but what happened was this really good re-engage that Intensify found, and were able to get these big picks before this dragon, because in my opinion, DBZ should have won that dragon after that fight, but because of the good play by I'm Not Trying, they were able to pick up their third Drake, and that is huge, because they are one step closer to a Mountain Soul.
yeah, I mean that fight was, like you said, it seemed like it was in DBZ's favor. They could secure the dragon off of that. However, it just constantly the flow of the match is constantly switching in favor between the two teams, back and forth at a moment's notice. And now seeing that INT is taking advantage of the dragons, if they are able to secure that soul, it would be a Mountain Soul, I believe. Correct? It's hard to see. A Mountain Soul, which for a team with so many tankier people would actually be pretty massive. And especially with one of their crucial players being the Kog'Maw and the damage he's able to dish out, having that shield for survivability is massive to potentially survive that engage that can be provided by that Hecarim and Nautilus are. So I'm really, if they're able to secure this dragon, it's going to be extremely advantageous for INT.
Yeah, definitely. And this entire game, I've been trying to figure out, right? Who do I value more, the Annie or the Vlad? And so far, we have not seen much from either player. Beyblade has found himself some pretty good assists in these fights, but it still makes me wonder, like, what was the picks for, right? Why did they decide to go for this Annie? And I think if we can see how it will go, because it does seem to be a burst Annie, right? And the only targets I can see getting bursted are gonna be Bio and Luminous, as Intensify is trying to run down the Hecarim. Will actually outspeed him. The dredge line getting hit by the terrain, that's important because the Mountain Soul. But overall, nothing really happening. They do get double TPs from both teams. Demon Angel does get an insane condemn. The same wall that stopped the Nautilus will actually stop. But wow, the unstoppable onslaught going in, the Ornhorn going in, knocking up the Scion, but that's not what you want. The Kog'Maw does get taken out, the unstoppable force going in. The Onslaught Shadows taking him down, but wow, Scion getting knocked up and stunned and just taken out by this Annie. Really well played by Demon Angel. His positioning, even though it looked kind of bad at the beginning, was able to fix it and then capitalize, absolutely destroying and shredding these tanks. And wow, the Hecarim one-shotting the Kog'Maw in that fight was so good. Crazy. Should be a mid tower picked up.
This game is absolutely full of so many interesting fights to watch, especially like you said, Demon Angel. Demon Angel really showing off his mechanics, how he's able to instantly reposition himself into an advantageous position from one that could have marked his death in literally a moment. And I'm extremely curious to see how, as they scale further, how he's going to be playing team fights. Will he continue with this amazing mechanics that he is displaying within these fights, and how will he deal with that when it comes to how they do that in preventing potentially the enemy team INT from receiving Dragon Soul, or if they do, how will he play team fights around that? I'm really curious to see how they end up playing these future fights. This game is interesting fight after interesting fight. It's just, I mean, like I said before, a pleasure to watch. Damn.
Definitely. And you talk about mechanics. Demon Angel really using his condemn through the wall, right? The mountain soul affecting the map with the terrain that spawns really does allow for Vayne to get those angles and for Nautilus to find those hooks, even though sometimes we saw it actually mess him up. But yeah, the mechanics of the map and just in these fights, Demon Angel is playing it perfectly. And also, like I was saying, mechanics, you don't really need good mechanics to press on Hecarim on the ADC, and Bio just doesn't have the tools to peel it off. He's getting one shot, and I think that Bio will have to use this next flash to really stop himself from getting picked, but you have multiple ways to engage, as Intensify will find Nia for the second time. NGA in the jungle. NGA does not want to take the fight, even though he has the Sunder, trying to get away with the E. Here's Nautilus, the Dredge line will hook, the root comes down, but Demon Angel does get spotted by Gogofe and Biostir. Celibate Squirrel falls, Celibate Squirrel, gets a, I mean, he's tank, he just walks out, but wow. Intensify flashing away, not dying there, because they don't have the damage between Hecarim and Nautilus, because Hecarim was already half health, and this should be Soul.
Watching these skirmishes with the Udyr and Hecarim admittedly is I haven't seen this before, because usually whenever I see a Hecarim try to E out, he's usually out of there, but Udyr is able to match his speed even when Hecarim ghosts, and I think we are going to potentially see a siege mid lane or a rotation onto Baron potentially.
Yeah, this is just a rotation, but like it makes me wonder what caused Demon Angel to be in that position, because while our attention was on the bot side, Demon Angel just got one shot in his own jungle, and it makes me question what happened with Vision, because him getting picked out as actually here's the damage trading, the unstoppable onslaught by the Scion hits a wall, but that's still enough damage from the Kog'Maw and Intensify to take out WeWizard. This could be a transition into the Baron, but they might just try and stack a bush and try and find more picks as Steel Fist walks into it. There's the Galio ultimate on top. Don't think it was necessary, but still, they played around Vision really, really well. That's the support's hardest thing when he's trying to find Vision in these situations where the enemy team's posturing Baron. But that will be up 2 people dead on the side of DBZ, meaning this is just going to be an uncontested Baron. The enemy jungler, NGA, just says, I'm going to go bot lane and push out of this wave.
Watching I'm Not Trying play is crazy. They're really constantly flexing their synergy together as a team, and how they're able to capitalize on the macro play this game. It's like all the dragons they've secured, the objectives, the barons, the towers, everything. They've just been playing as a complete unit together. So I feel like that's what primarily gave them the advantage this game as a whole. They've just been working so well together as a team. It's crazy to watch.
Yeah, and the Mountain Soul getting picked up means that Biostir might be able to live longer, and Celibate Squirrel and Intensify are so hard to kill. Watch this interaction again. Hecarim having to use the unstoppable, the Onslaught of Shadows. The Unstoppable Onslaught actually does find Beyblade, getting stunned up. Good flash to dodge the charge Q. Here's the TP from WeWizard. I don't know if they'll be able to actually take him down, though. It seemed like just a reactionary TP to be like, hey, back up, this Annie is not yours, right? Didn't want Sion chasing anymore, but that is the TP going down, meaning Celibate Squirrel will have a TP advantage if they decide to fight. What a fast Hecarim. I mean, sorry, a fast Udyr. This guy is just insane. Intensify playing and piloting this Udyr so well.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy to see, because Intensify's main role is not jungler, if I remember correctly. And to see him just constantly capitalizing on jungle macro very, very well, and just completely speeding around with his Udyr around the map, securing leads for a lot of his lanes and for himself as well. It's just absolutely impressive to see from Intensify.
And there's going to be just good sieging, good macro play by I'm Not Trying to take as many towers and use as much Baron as them. Wow, what a great knockup, but really nothing else can really happen. There's the Galio, the Ornn comes down, the shield locket coming up, but really that was just an Ornn ultimate to push them off. As wow, here's the engage on as Illumis goes in, gets the ultimate onto Vayne. Vayne should fall. The Dredge line will, I mean, it was carnage from that point. What an insane engaged by Illuminous, going in 1v5, using the pool to get underneath them and just get onto the priority targets and just that should be game. The Baron buff will be enough. I don't even think they need it. As Intensified dives the Baron. They're diving the Baron. The Fountain. That's 3 kills going over to the Nautilus. This guy is fed. He can carry. I'm telling you.
He can carry this game. Pentakill for Nautilus potentially if we see this. Comebackable. Indeed. No, but as a whole, it was an amazing game to watch. Just seeing INT working extremely well as a team, and you can kind of see a difference in their different team plays. I feel like with Hecarim going like the Conquer build that he did, and just generally how DBZ played as a whole, they did to play a lot more independently as individuals. However, I feel like the team play that was demonstrated by I'm Not Trying did give them the lead, the edge that was able to let them secure those objectives, secure those kills, and secure the win overall.
And that Kog'Maw was dishing out so much damage in these fights. It was insane. The ADCs absolutely were having a field day into these tanks with these tank shredding ADCs, hyper carries. Like in these fights, it's like I was talking about. Bio had the range to just make Steel Fist and Wizard get one shot, and as good as it seemed, right, in the mid to late, the mid game, as Demon Angel actually were able to get some counterplay, but not more of that because we have our captain of the day, Intensify. You're the captain of the day.
Wow, thank you. I feel honored.
How does it feel? That game was intense. It was intense.
Ooh, yeah, I definitely intensified the atmosphere in there. It
man.
feels pretty good. You know, we had a sub that game, and I was on a different role, and you know, everything went pretty well.
Well, you are a great fill player, and your Udyr had so much impact. Talk about draft if you can. Give us a little insight.
Oh yeah, so I like hardly play this game anymore, but I was like, okay, I'll just abuse some meta jungler. So they left open Udyr, I took it, and it was fun. Luminous apparently plays a lot of Vlad, and then they picked a top laner, so we just so yeah, and then we were originally planning to take the Cog earlier because we thought that they were going to take like Kaisa or a different AD carry first round. But we kind of got everything we wanted. I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't rate Cog Galio too highly, but I think that lane is really, really good.
Yeah, I think just having the Kog'Maw this game was huge. Demon Angel did fight back with the counter pick, or not counter pick, but getting the red side last pick in the draft of this Vayne. Really, really scary. I bet. I don't know if you guys were prepared for maybe him picking out a Vayne, but just like with the Vayne being picked in the Hecarim, what are your thoughts on those champs in this draft? And did it scare you guys?
I mean, honestly, I thought the Vayne pick was pretty troll. I don't like it at all. They have like Hecarim diving. Orin wants to engage. Annie wants to get engaged. We kind of figured they would just take the Kaisa to like dive, but they picked Vayne, who like doesn't really mesh well with the comp, and then like Vayne Nautilus kind of gets destroyed by Galio Cog. So, I mean, I think we drafted okay, but I think like I said, not trying to flame it. I think that they could have drafted better.
Prem, do you have anything else to say?
Oh, you're muted. Muted.
Good to note. Yeah, so sorry about that. But yeah, when you saw the Annie pick, me and Kip did discuss that pick as a whole into your team comp and how it synergized. What were you thinking when you did see the Annie pick pulled out from Blade?
I don't know why they picked that. I honestly don't. Like, I was kind of nervous picking the Kog'Maw into it, but like, Blade's skills are much better suited on other champs in my opinion. Like, even if it does make his team like all AD, just throw him on the Yasuo or something he can actually like make plays with. Yeah.
And before we let you go, I do have one final question. So talk about this sub that you had, right? Obviously, you had to make the transition from mid lane to jungle, but tell me, talk about like how the sub meshed with the team. Was it like an easy transition with this new player? Did it really change anything important, or do you think that he played well and fit well into this team, especially playing this Vladimir, which had very interesting things going on the entire game? I will just say that.
Yeah, I mean, I met him like 30 minutes before our game, so he played well, and he kind of, let us take the reins for a lot of times, but he also communicated well, and I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah.
Are you saying that
Alright.
you picked up this Vladimir from a random like draft game, or?
No, it was someone that Bio knew.
Oh, I see. I see. I was
Yeah.
gonna say after draft game, hey, would you like to play a semi-competitive league with us? I was gonna say when you said 30 minutes before, I was a little concerned, but regardless, there was you guys, even just for meeting this guy, played very well as a team. So congrats to you guys, and congrats for you guys' win today.
Thank you guys, and thank you for commentating. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate you as well. And also, everyone watching, thank you guys for tuning. That was DBZ versus I'm Not Trying, or INT. But overall, what a spectacular game. It was really, really, just intense, like I said at the beginning, because both teams were always just doing stuff, right? It was constant skirmishes, constant plays being made by both sides. It wasn't like one team just, being in the driver's seat, like, saying, hey, you have to do everything we say, right? It wasn't like they were having a submissive enemy, because they were making counter plays. They were looking at some really good fights, and like in all of their lanes, they were finding really good things on the side of DBZ to come back the 3K gold lead, which stood for the longest time until that Baron. So overall, just a crazy game. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure that that is it for today. No more games, but I'm glad that that all of you guys came in and tuned in and watched. This was me, Kip, and Listen to the Beat, my excellent co-host, joining us for today. And thank you guys for joining as well. So, peace out. Have a good rest of your day. Tune in for more next week.